Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Gina. Today I'm using an A4 size page. It's watercolor from a watercolor pad, 300 GSM, so it's nice and thick. And I wanted to make some small tags today. And I also wanted to do abstract because I'm still in that phase of just wanting to make some marks and wanting to get stuff down, but I thought for this one I could make some tags and again share it and also use it in different projects. So I thought that I could use my crayons as an actual regular crayons, just regular wax crayons, and I don't know, it just feels so good to go back to that, where you just scribble and make some marks on a page with some regular coloring crayons. So I did that. I'm also using markers, different types of markers that I have in a little cup here. Some of them are acrylic, some of them are regular permanent markers, some of them are oil-based, but I'm just looking to see what I have. So far my colors are green, yellow, and orange today. I'm also trying my best to keep it simple, keeping my palette small, to keep it visually appealing and also simple for me, because my goal for this project is just to make something nice and keep it simple and get my thoughts reorganized, because I realized that when I do art, and just for me, not for anybody else, but when I do art because I just want to make something, I realize that it helps me process other areas of my life better. I don't know what it's like for anybody else, but I just feel calmer and more peaceful and better to tackle the other areas of my life. Other meaning anything that does not include art. Or actually, some art related stuff too. I'm just able to think much clearer. So with these marks, at first, I just wanted to, add color in certain places. And then, as we know, when you make a mark, it gives you ideas to make another mark. And, one thought precedes another. And before you know it, you have a full page of loveliness or sometimes chaos. And in this case, it felt like just chaos. I just wanted to do some lines. I wanted to scribble in spots. I wanted to make some dots. So that's what I did. I wanted to make some circles. So that's what I did. And it feels good. I feel like just doing this. So I do it. And I feel like maybe I just want to do that. So I do it. Again, the idea is to keep it abstract, but I also knew that some of this was going to get covered up, but I also wanted some of it to be seen. And that is also why I wanted to try to put something on every part of the page, because I know I was going to cut it up. So I just, I wanted to make sure there was a mark on every piece that was going to be separated from each other. And yeah, my markers, of course, I don't use it as often as I should, so they're kind of drying up. And doing this exercise made me think, Gina, you need to use your stuff. It made me, again, say to myself, because I've said it before, but Gina, you need to use your stuff. Use your things, otherwise they're just gonna stay there and dry up or just become useless. And that's not why you've received it, because some of them are gifts, and also some of them are purchased. So that's not why you bought it. That's not why it was given to you. It was given to you to use. So again, Gina, use your stuff. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't save it for the perfect opportunity or the perfect painting in your eyes. Just use it. Just use it. And usually when I use it, it works out to be for something really good. I'm usually like, oh, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I used this. I'm glad I tried this technique, So I also wanted to use something other than a brush. So here I am with it's a piece of a card. I cut it in half. And I'm just making some, again, applying the paint using the card because I like that effect. And then here I'm using the brush because I kind of wanted to less, to not to have so much sharp edges, which the card would make. I like what I liked about using the card was the application, the thickness of the paint as I put it on. But then when it happened, I was like, you know what? I like it, but I also want softer edges as well as the sharp. So that's why I came in with the brush to help soften up some of the edges and also spread the paint with a wash, which is what I did on some parts of it. And then I thought this pink orange color that I'm applying would look nicely too, because it's also pretty transparent. So I thought having it in different parts of it would be really cool, thicker in some areas and as a wash in some areas. So this was fantastic to be able to play in this way, thickness, and just to see the effects and see, okay, if I do this, then this is how it looks. Okay, let me try sending it down and see how a wash would look over it instead, or as well as. And then this is cool. Let me apply some of the same paint, but a little thicker. And so this was fun. It was nice. It was really, really nice. And because I have the green marks below, I brought in some green paint. Yay, I actually remembered to dry it before I added the next layer. Yes, so I'm bringing in back that green from the marks that I made below, and I like it. I like the green and the purple because they are complementary colors on the color wheel actually. And then the yellow and the green is next to each other on the wheels, so that works well too. So I'm trying my best to stay within my color wheel, organization too, because it really works. It does work. It does help bring everything together and make it pleasing to the eye. So I'm bringing back in the yellow because I found the page was getting very, very dark, and I wanted to brighten it up. So I used the natural yellow as it was from the tube, and then I thought I want to brighten it up even more, so I added some white because I just felt the page was getting really dark. So I thought, let's brighten this up. And now we have some stenciling. I thought I would keep it simple. I just pulled out this small stencil I have with some different shapes on it. And I wanted to just add a couple textures and shapes on the cards. And I experimented with applying it with a brush, applying the paint with a brush, and then I flipped it to get that juiciness right there. I just love it. Oh my gosh. It's awesome. And I don't do it enough. I really don't. And I think part of it is the fear that it'll just won't work out well. But yeah, I just want to play a lot more with my pieces. So this is me playing. Actually, the purpose for this was because I deal with students at work, and I wanted to cheer them up. So I thought that I would make them some cards and just put some nice positive words to encourage them in their studying process, because life is hard and they have enough to deal with, and sometimes we just need a little encouragement. We just need a little support, and we just need to know that somebody actually cares. So I thought that I would do this for them, and that's why this is actually happening. And I'm bringing in some white again because it started to feel too busy. So I wanted to tone some things back, and I ran the card through it because it was just too white. So I wanted to bring back in some of the color, and that's why I ran the cards through it so we could see the color beneath that white when it was scraped off with the card. So really and truly, it's just a layering process. Going back and forth, adding things, adding paint, adding texture, adding some stenciling, painting over it with the same and using the same colors over and over, and then go back in and add some more stenciling and just keep adding and taking away basically. That was the process for this. So it's quite layered, very, very, very layered. Scraping away some of that paint so we could see what's underneath and adding some interest in some areas. Now I'm coming in, adding in some of that purple again because it just got too covered. So that's what the process is. Here I'm experimenting again because I'm using this flat brush to do the stenciling. I wanted to see how it would come out, and it was nice to be able to just try it and be okay with what would happen after I moved the stencil. That was really nice and I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I need to use this brush a little more often. But I know as well that I think the paint needs to be a bit thick in order for me to use it successfully. So that's the thing. But it's a nice brush. It's cool. And it was really, really fun to use. So I'm bringing back in some of those shapes from the stencil because they got really covered up. And then I will go through a process of covering up those because I found they stood out a little too much. So I'm using the same stencil but adding in the shapes with a lighter color to try and push it back just a bit. So this was fun. This was really, really, really fun to do. Just going back and forth like this. So I'm covering up some of the purple by adding the yellow on top. It's fun. And I'm happy that I actually remembered to dry in between some of my layers. And then I thought it was looking a bit plain. I know it's really busy, but I just felt it needed some lines. So I'm bringing back in my markers and adding some of the same colors, but using it to make some lines instead of, those blooms of shapes and other paint areas. And when I did this, I felt like, yeah, okay, this is good. This is going to add some nice interest and, it's going to draw your eye because you'll follow the line. Naturally, your eye is going to follow the line and it's going to follow it wherever on the cards. And of course, one of the big things for me is when you cut the cards and you're like, what is going to happen after I cut it? What is it going to look like? Oh, it's so exciting. I'm adding in, now, even though the page has a lot of yellow, I'm adding this marker because it's a different shade of yellow. I find it's brighter and, having it brighter and using it to make the lines, I think adds a nice layer of interest. I think, and it's kind of subtle because it's yellow, so it's not super in your face bright. So I like those soft yellow lines a lot. All right, now it's time to cut. Here is my attempt to divide a page in half. And then I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to do that. So I just took a, what size is this? A 3x2? I think it's a 3x2 card. And I'm just using that template to measure out the shapes on the back of it. Of course, it didn't work out exactly, so I was just trying to figure out where to put the card to see if I could get as much of this size as possible. And I did end up with some odd shapes, but that's okay. I thought I could still use them somewhere. So some of them ended up being quite short, but I still like them. They're still cute. So I'm cutting them up, and I'm purposefully not turning them over yet because I just want to be surprised. And then here we are, my surprises, which I actually really like. Some, of course, more than others, but I did get a lot. So now I'm going to individually add some more elements to these cards to just make them pop and, you know, just to separate them even more, make them a little more individual. And this was also really fun to do because it's so small. It's nice to work on a small space and just, but it has always also been great for me to work on several pieces at once. That way I get to move my eye away from one piece, and when I come back to it, it's fresh in my mind, even though it's right there. So I know I say that all the time, but it's true. And I love it. I actually really love that part of it. And some of the cards, I'm going to add some white to push, you know, some of the color back because it's just, for me, it's just too much in my face. So this was fun. Decide. And again, I wanted to make quick decisions. I didn't want to think too long and hard about these things because I just wanted to be like a natural kind of process. I think for one of these next ones I'm doing, I want to try using more colored pencils because I don't use those often at all. And I like them. So, and I know there are a lot of people who are into coloring. I tried it recently and I realized I can't do it for long. I like it. I've always liked coloring since I was small, but I don't know. I was like, okay, it's good. You know, it's not something that I would gravitate to do art-wise. It's always, for me, it's always abstract. I love doing abstract art. And I have finally learned to embrace it, which is fantastic. I think when we figure out what we like and we embrace it, I think that's something that we need to treasure. Because, you know, sometimes we try to do what other people are doing because it works for them or because it looks good when they do it. So, or even when we do it, but if it's not what our heart desires more, then it doesn't feel as fulfilling as when we do what we like to do. Because I know of some artists who say that they've done, what is this thing called, realism, for a long time, but they actually prefer abstract. And you know, people be like, why are you doing that? And because they can't understand the abstract, they don't know what it's supposed to mean, they don't know what it is, you know, it's not anything specific. And I always applaud them because they say, okay, that's fine, but this is actually what I prefer, what I love, and what I'm going to continue doing. I'm going to keep doing my abstract. Or vice versa. You know, they're making a lot of money doing one thing and then they decide, no, this is where my heart lies. I'm going to do this. I just find that it takes such courage. And I just always applaud it. And I always love when you are able to do what you love. So I'm still editing my cards, trying to make them different. Of course, they're all similar because they have similar shapes on them and similar colors. So it's still a family, but I'm really individualizing them, which is always fun. Sometimes stressful, but fun. trying to decide where and if I should add this purple to different cards, and I was like, yeah, nah. I'll just stick to my very small splashes on these, just to break up some of the main colors. So yeah, we have a lot of white, but I broke it up by just adding some splatters, which I love. See, I'm trying. Should I add some purple? No. And yeah, it's, and then I forgot, okay, let's add some orange. Just had some orange in the background, so it's kind of an orange pink, I think, more orange, I don't know. And I was like, okay, we need to add some, just bring it out, pull it out some more, make it shine a little bit, bring it to the forefront. So it's nice when I feel when I have some of the same color in the background, but I bring it heavier to the foreground. I like that. And now I've added my words. I went through my stash to see what I felt would be good for the students. And I cut them out and I placed them on the cards where I think they would be suitable. And now I'm going to spend some time shaping them and, you know, making them as suitable as possible for each card. So I'm going to kind of, I guess you could say I'm individualizing each word by probably adding a background or, you know, just reshaping it so that it's neater and things like that. With some of the words, I'm just going to add a little border around some of them and as well around the cards just to contain it. And for me, it feels more complete when I add a little border. It helps finish it off nicely rather than just leaving it. I don't know, because if it doesn't have a frame for me, even, you know, just that squiggly line around, it feels like the color is just kind of floating off of the card and it just doesn't feel complete. So I'm adding a border. I think I did it around all of them, even though some of them have some dark edges. And it just makes the card feel, yeah, like it's a card. And because I wanted these to be little tags, little gift cards, I'm just going to put a little piece of string on each one of them. I'm punching my holes. Did not measure the centers, but you know, just kind of eyeball it and just add some different string that I felt that would match each card. So these are my pieces. I just find they're so cute and fluffy. I love these soft strings. I actually like all of them a lot. They're all just so cute. Some of them I made little bows. Some of them I just did it the regular way. I just love them. They're so cute. This looks like a mini bookmark, you know. They could all be used as little bookmarks actually. But yeah, these are my pieces. I actually really love them. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I look forward to your comments. Let me know which ones you like, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!